This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. Ready or not, he still will come. 'Cause he must fulfill his promise. His will be done. And there's no one that can stop it. If I were you, I would seek the Most High for the truth. So many will be called, but they only choose a few. Be careful of all your deeds. You are the light to your enemies. You were given the responsibility, so stay away from my idolatry. Look up in the sky, can't you see the sign? This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. I'll be the first to stand and worship you in spirit and in truth. Every day I will repent and die daily. No matter how hard it gets, I choose to endure. 'Cause this is a spiritual war. If I were you, I would seek the Most High for the truth. So many will be called, but they only choose a few. Be careful of all your deeds. You are the light to your enemy. You were given the responsibility, so stay away from idolatry. Look up in the sky, can't you see the sign? This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. You can't run, you can't hide when it gets here. You can have all the money in the world, it won't help you in the last day. You can't get away in your fast cars in the last day. He knows where you are, no matter where you hide. Last day. Your degrees and philosophies won't help you in the last day. A few will be chosen. How would you feel to lose your soul in the last day? How would you feel to lose your soul in the last day? This is the last, we're living in the last day. This is the last, we're living in the last day. This is the last, we're living in the last day. This is the last.
Hey, shalom, y'all. It's Michael Israel. You're watching Spiritual Combat. And the song you were listening to, I put it up there real quick. That was from my Ak L. If you want to check it out, I'll put it back up here again. It's Son of Shemites. That's the name of his YouTube. Um, that's the name of his YouTube channel, and he makes a lot of the songs. Basically, majority of the songs I play on here now, and he made the spiritual combat theme song they have. So you can check him out. I want to say shalom to everybody watching on Facebook, and shalom to everybody watching. Uh, hey, I'm live right now. So yeah, so wanna say shalom to everybody watching on Facebook, and shalom to everybody watching on YouTube. Shalom. Let's see. Shalom, Sister Hannah. Good to see you in there. Shalom, Amatz Yahoo Ben Yisrael. Shalom, Big Ock. How you doing out there? Good to see you in there. Shalom, Tammy. Good to see you in there. Shalom. All right, shalom. You're hooking on. I see you in there. All right, hold on one sec. And then shalom to y'all tuning in on YouTube. Shalom, Yemiya. Shalom, MS. Good to see you in there. Shalom, Virtuous Jetta. Gautrell. Shalom. Shalom, Rick. Good to see you in there. Shalom, Karma. Karma. Shalom. Good to see you in there. Veronica. Good to see you in there as usual. Mark Yah. Good to see you in there. All right. And Virtuous Jetta. Good to see you in there. And I see people are still steadily coming in. And as you can tell, hey, Azariel, I see you in there. Good to see you in there, man. So yeah, as y'all could tell, back on my one of the core things, spiritual combat teaches on relationships, and we're talking biblical relationship principles. So what does that mean? Like, what do I mean by that? What I'm going through here, and this will be a series, so understand that. But what we're talking about is what it takes for a relationship to work, and we're gonna discuss it biblically, and it takes a series to break down, but I break it down to the minute particles. The reason I'm doing it again is because as I progress forward, I of course you gain more and more experience. So from the last time I've done a series or a lesson like this, there's a lot I've learned up to now, and really better ways of explaining it to really make it so that people can learn it quicker. You know what I'm saying? Take hold quicker. So I get straight to the point. So so biblical relationship principles, and we're gonna approach it from like I always do, from a balanced perspective. We're going to talk about the female side and the male side, and we're going to talk about it from the standpoint all the way from you being single all the way up to being married, and the stuff that comes in that is involved with being married, and the added complexities of all that. But what we're going to do, we're going to make it simple. Okay. So one of the little concepts I kind of put together, or it's like kind of a simple way of understanding what it takes to make a relationship work, So, and I'm gonna talk briefly about that. Then we're gonna go to the basics of making a, some of the real foundational things. But one of the main foundational things that you kind of need to have a working knowledge of before you even want to jump in a relationship is, I guess the best way, the word you would call it was, you need to have some charisma, kind of. And the way I define that is being social, being willing to talk to people, and knowing how to some extent, bring out the best in people when you're talking to them initially, stuff like that. So you don't have to be like some social super networker like me. Like I go, I want to talk to everybody. I want to be moving and everything when I'm in a social situation. But so you don't have to be like that. But I see a lot of people that like, man, I can't meet anybody. And then you watch them and they just sit there in the corner looking crazy, like men, women alike. They sit there, clothes on, and they're like looking crazy. Like, well, I see why. People scared to come up to you. I'm scared to come up to you. So that is one of that is the most foundational principle. You have to be willing to talk. Okay, that is a whole nother lesson. I could go in and break that down, and go into that and really break that down on a heavy, deep level. Okay, but again, what the term I call is just having charisma, having some charm. You got to have a little bit of charm. You got to be able to, be comfortable in your own skin, men, women alike, all that. Okay. Now what we're going to get into is the deeper stuff, the heavier stuff that, gets neglected. And those are the foundational things, the principles to make a relationship work. A relationship will not work if it's missing these things, okay? And for the man has to have these qualities, and that's, he has to show the woman affection, direction, and correction, okay? And I'm going to go into what each of those mean. And the woman has to, in order for the relationship to work in a healthy way, the woman has to be able to show the man affection and subjection. Okay? So the man has to be able to, has to exemplify the qualities of affection, direction, and correction. And the woman has to exemplify, show the qualities of affection and subjection. Okay? Now, and I'm going to go in and break down what each of those are. And then in the series, we're going to go through biblically, verse by, we're going to go down verses. I'm not going to go 3 levels deep or 2 levels deep. We're going to get surface meaning of verses of what it's telling you. And I'm going to show you what this, I'm going to show you all these principles right through the Bible. And then on top of that, I'm going to go into the Apocrypha, into the book of Ecclesiasticus, and to other books in the Apocrypha. And I'm going to further solidify what I'm saying. And while doing that, I'm going to show you a lot of y'all where in your life, where when you did not apply these principles, you'll see why you failed at a lot of your relationships, or why you're failing or struggling in the relationships you're in now. Okay? So that's what we gonna do. Shauna said subjection. Yes, ma'am. That's what I said, sis. Yep. It's for the women, it's affection and subjection. Okay? And I'll get all into it. I'm gonna get it, And that's part of the way with spiritual combat. Because of the way I learn, because I'm a real slow learner, and in order for me to understand something, I got to know every single aspect. Let's see. Do you mean submission? A woman who agrees to submit to her husband's authority, and that's my wife, Koya. Uh, Hold on. We'll jump on that right now. Okay. Okay. No, I meant subjection, and so what we'll do, what I'll do, okay, is the definition of submission is the action or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will or authority of another person. Okay, and the definition of subjection is the action of subjecting a country or a person to one's control or the fact of being subjected. So submission is more of a fight, and then I give up to the force and the power and all that, and that's not a good fit. It's subjection is you give your power over to this person. It's not forced, and that's why I'm being very careful of how I word that, because a lot of men want submission. Submit, woman. Kneel and bow, and all that stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? All right, here, I'll pull it up here. So these are the definitions. My wife and another sister were asking, did I mean submission? No, because that implies you've forced her into this thing. And I don't like what that's saying and what that communicates. Subjection is a much better, I think it fits it a little better. And what you're going to find as I teach this, and when I teach on this, I have to be very careful to make sure people understand precisely what I'm saying. Because when you're in a relationship, there's a lot of emotion in there, and just slightly saying the wrong thing it could be a hot mess. Okay, I've seen it before. That's why I'm very careful of what I'm saying and clarifying it to a T. But I'm glad Koya and that's my wife in there. She's over there on Facebook. For y'all over there on YouTube watching, that's why I just want to make sure it's clarified. I'm glad she put that in there though. So, but yeah, so what we're talking about is subjection. So those are the two things, and so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna tie that in. I'm again breaking these down so that you and when as I break this down, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It'll become very clear, and you'll see how solid what the word is teaching and what I'm showing you out of the word. You'll see why. It's so clear. So let's get started. Let's start with affection, okay? And this is on the man side. A lot of men, a lot of us, period, hear women say, "You need to be more sensitive. You need to get in tune, and you're not sensitive enough, and this, that, and the other." And men don't understand what that means. A lot of men thinks that means act like some soft chump and start running around crying and all this stuff like that, and that is not what that is communicating. Okay, being sensitive uh, when that's being said, it's talking about literally senses, being able to discern things. Not being surface level and just taking things for what they mean. So I'll give you an example. A lot, and this is a real. A lot of men, like when a woman gets mad at them, or the woman begins to get difficult to deal with, they just come up with some conclusion in their head. And I'll give you one in the Hebrew community. A lot of men in the Hebrew community, the woman not doing she's not operating in subjection. The woman's not being subject to her. The woman is not being I guess an obedient woman, whatever you want to call it. She's being rebellious. And the first thing the men jump to is just apply more force to get her to submit to my authority. Kneel before me. I am your Lord. And all that stuff like that. And that's their mindset, because they're not sensitive. They're just using the caveman part of their brain, and they can't figure out why she's not, bowing or whatever to their authority and all this stuff. One of the areas you see this on a big level in is, I get a lot of men contacting me that their woman is not in the truth. They're in the truth. She's still into this. So when a woman is being difficult to deal with, when she's being rebellious, when she's just not following. And when I say not following, I mean, hey, it could be a multitude of things. Like I said, one of the main ones I see is the woman is not in this truth. Another one is the woman just being rebellious, not being obedient, not listening, is argumentative, is nagging, whatever. That stuff like that. Most men are just one-dimensional, and they just bang it head on, and it just makes it worse, and it gets worse, and then sometimes it ends up getting physical. Sometimes it winds up on my doorstep. And I have to give counsel and all that stuff like that. And it boils back to the first thing. The man is not being sensitive. What do I mean by being sensitive? He is not interpreting where it's coming from. Is she being difficult because you are not leading? Like, you're not being, and we're going to get into what leading is, but because you're not being a real man, because you're not being a masculine man. So you're not taking things in the right direction. Is she being difficult because you're letting her run over you? Is she being difficult because it's something hormonal in her? You know what I'm saying? What's going on here? How do we diagnose all that? You know what I'm saying? And in order to do that, you have to be sensitive. You can't just let her yell at you and then it gets you you jump on the emotional roller coaster with her, and it's just this hot mess. And like I said, we're gonna get into this real deep. Okay, so that is being sensitive, being able to kind of like being able to look at her behavior, not just the actions that are happening now, but look at her whole behavior and interpret what's going on and why she's behaving like that. That's being sensitive. That's understanding the language women speak, that I call womanese. They're interpreting their emotions and their behavior to understand, hey, where is this coming from? Which brings us into the next thing. I said affection, direction. If you're not leading, you're gonna get kickback. And when I say leading, that don't mean, yo, woman, get over here and do this, cook that, do this, not leading like that. When I say leading, is not lording. It's not dictatorship. Leading is doing it, being it. So a lot of men where their wife isn't in this truth, I tell them, if you want to win her over to this, let her see a change inside you. Let her see that you don't get frustrated and shook up like you used to. Let her see a core level change in your spirit, in your being of who you are. Not just you mechanically walking around with fringes, keeping a Shabbat and not eating pork. You know, you should do that. But a woman, when she sees a change of your masculinity, where you're walking in biblical masculinity and all that, and like I said, we're going to get into all this stuff, what all this means, but when she sees that change, when she sees you being more sensitive to what's going on with her, when I say sensitive, you're able to interpret her behavior for what is really communicating, and then you can respond to that. When they see that, then they begin to just naturally, instinctually follow you. Okay, so that's the direction. Now we're gonna get into the last one, the correction. Okay, and this is the one where they get all, the women be like, all that, but the correction is when she need to be checked. You're not afraid. You're being a real man. You're not letting her run all over you. She doesn't walk around with your balls in a clear purse. And you're saying, can I have them back, honey? And all that stuff like that. You are a real biblically masculine leader. And I'm not talking about a macho boy where you just and you always correcting her because you're a macho boy and you don't know how to do anything else and you think that's how things work. A lot of macho boys, and a macho boy is like a dude, he's not a real man. They're not secure in themselves. A lot of them get into this thing and they just lord over women. You know what I'm saying? And it's just as bad, if not worse, than not standing up. And it has the same disastrous mess. You know what I'm saying? In order to be a real man, it starts with you. You got to work on yourself. You got to know yourself. You got to understand how people work and all that stuff like that, so that when something pops off, you got to become sensitive, so that when something pops off, you're not frustrated. Men get frustrated because they don't understand what the heck's going on. And then they don't understand what's going on because they're not doing the real work. Christ said first clean the inside of the cup, then do the outside. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of these dudes out here, man, they're sloppy because they've neglected to do the work on themselves. Okay? So that is, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I just quickly went through those. Now for the women, we talked about a little bit earlier, the two principles for the women. A woman has to be show affection and subjection. Affection, she has to be able to give the man the affection he needs, and be in subjection. And those directly, her ability to do that is directly tied into the stuff I named from the man. When a man is naturally walking in biblical masculinity, it's very easy for a woman to be to show a man affection and subjection. Okay, the affection is the type of affection a man needs. Like, he don't need roses, he just need that thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty straightforward. and that and it also, part of that affection directly ties in to subjection, being obedient and being subject unto him and to his authority, according to how the Bible lays it out. And like I said, I will go all into that. Um, I watch, and it be pissing me off. I watch people twist scripture to imply that, oh, it's equal and this, that, and the other, when I can prove to the I've watched women teach this, twist scripture and try to kind of usurp the authority structure in a relationship, when I could get that woman in front of me and prove to her right there on the spot that what she's teaching is off. And I can prove it to you right now. It's real simple. You ask any woman what, throughout your relationships in life, which man in those relationships just were you really attracted to and really had you all, into him. And inevitably across the board, it will be the assertive dude who was on his own path, who wasn't trying to serve and worship her. Every time, across the board. Because this is instinctually wired up into them at the most core level for them to want a man who's going to be that authority figure, who's not going to walk around trying to lick her boots and serve her. It's a complete, total turnoff. And it bothers me when people try to subtly twist scripture, and then a man will be like, well, I guess it's true. I gotta show her love. I gotta lick her boots and ask her what she wants now and serve her as my queen and my equal. And men get that in their head, and then they just portray the wrong thing. And they can't, neither side can figure out why the relationship is a mess. And the reality is, women are not attracted to bootlickers. Women are attracted to men. The Bible even tells you, the man was not made for the woman, but the woman was made for the man. And when you treat a woman like that in a righteous biblical way, they are attracted to you. It literally equals attraction. Exactly. And Brother Rick put the Proverbs 31 woman. Like, you got the model all through the book. And the crap I hear these people teach. And the thing that's so scary, they'll go even deeper. They'll take Hebrew and, some of the words will have 3 different descriptions. They'll get the description of that word that best completes their agenda and say, yeah, this is what this word means. So, this word subject really means equal. And so the woman is equal to the man, and do all this weird, crazy stuff and be pouring poison into people's relationship. And across the board, boy, I could go in so hard on this. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to go in any deeper on it, because I could deconstruct what people are saying, because, see, you don't need to know Hebrew or anything, or some 3 deep level understanding of the Bible to know what I'm saying, because the Bible says, it says the model of man to a woman is the same model and dynamic of Christ to the church. You see what I'm saying? So, there's no getting around that. There ain't no digging 20 levels deep and you coming up with something else that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's right there. But on the same note, you as a man, you to have the patience and the long suffering that Christ had with the church. All right, let me go get back to something. Um, uh, and this is an interesting dynamic of why it's so hard for men to walk in biblical leadership, masculinity, and all that, and it's just as hard for women to walk in this biblical or not biblical masculinity. So hard for women to walk into biblical affection and subjection. And the reason why, we're going to start with the women. The reason why is because a lot of women have been let down by men. They got a lot of bitterness and unforgiveness for things that have happened with men and things that have happened to them with abortions and all this other stuff. Rape, molest. I'll tell you, 50%, now it's more than that, of black women have been raped or molested by the time they're 20. Okay? And so they got a lot, men have really let women down on a big level. So a lot of women have a problem subjecting themselves to men and being affectionate to men and showing men the respect that, you know what I'm saying, that they should have, because men have let them down on the most core level. So in order for a woman to walk in this, they got a lot of bitterness and unforgiveness, and they got to forgive themselves for things they've done. They got a lot to work through to be able to walk in that. The reason I put this out there is because in order for a man to be sensitive to the woman and begin to understand what that woman's dealing with, they have to understand this fact of what I just said. Because a lot of dudes are like, nah, man, I'm done with her, man. She just won't listen. And they don't know nothing. All they see is what's right there in front of them. They don't understand that, hey, these women have been through some things. And they're gentle. And they've been hurt. And they're vulnerable. And where you were supposed to be there covering their head, be over them, they weren't there. When they were younger, and that man was supposed to be there protecting them, he violated them. So they gonna be feeling some type of way. So me, when I'm in frustrations, I'm not easily frustrated with stuff. And if you're an easily frustrated man, you a chick, you a girl, man, you a chump. You know what I'm saying? I can't put it a different way. You need to put her on the back burner. When I say put her on the back burner, if you married, you need to let her keep walking around with the purse and get your mind right and learn to deal with frustration. Okay? Because then when you're able to deal with the frustration, when it comes down to correct her, you could check her and come at her like a man. Because I'm not saying, oh, is she doing something wrong? Oh, please, godmotheress, baby, please, can you stop? No. Like, if you're a man, sometimes these women need to get checked with reality and truth and disregard for their daggone feelings. But if you're getting emotional and you're doing that, it's going to be ugly. You're going to really hurt them and it could get real bad. But if you could check a woman and correct her and not be emotional while you're doing it, because like I'll get emotional, it'll on the surface, but inside I'm cool and calm. I'm just doing what needs to be done. But I can't tell. Look, I'm telling you from firsthand experience of some stuff that's happened with people I've known. I've taught them this, and I didn't realize they hadn't fixed the inward part of themselves. So then when they started trying to correct the woman, it got physical because they weren't in control of themselves. So the first thing you got to do is get your mind right. You got to become a real man. You got to become grounded. You got to understand. You got to be able to empathize. Okay? you got to understand what's going on with yourself and with women and all this before you become, you know, before you go into this. Otherwise, it's gonna be a mess. All right. Now going back to the women though, women say because and I need to say this: if you're in a relationship and your relationship's out of order, and you're like, oh, I got show my husband Michael Israel, because this is what he need to hear, or if you're a man and you like, man, Michael Israel, boy, I gotta show my wife this. No, you, if either one of y'all hear this, you can fix everything right there. You don't, both of y'all don't need to hear this. Now, if both of y'all hear this, then it's a double plus. You know what I'm saying? But if one of y'all hear it, that's all that needs to happen. Everything can be fixed. So if you're a woman, you need to look at, like for instance, a lot of our women have been raped or molested or dogged out by men. They've had abortions and they're dealing with guilt and all this crap. You need to go through all that. You need to figure out and learn why all this happened. You need to, in order to let go of all that bitterness and unforgiveness that's making you rebellious and big mouth monster in your house. In order to deal with all that, you have to go through little by little, no rush, but you need to stay consistent and go through, okay, what made him like that? Like, why are men all lusted up? Why are men doing this stuff? And study. I got videos on the vicious cycle of lust, rape, and molestation. I got a video on it where I show you that whole dynamic and how to break that cycle and what's going on there and all that. To where now you could begin to let go of that hurt and all that. You got to go through it according to the Bible and all that. So that now when your man tells you something to do, you not deal through because of all that bitterness and really hatred you have towards men that you really haven't realized. Now you can say, yeah, okay, honey, you know, and you're not this rebellious monster. Same thing with men. Our men have to deal with lust. First and foremost, just straight up. And begin to walk in the spirit of boldness and look at themselves and see and get understanding and understand women and understand that the women is delicate and they've had to put on this shield of rebelliousness and all that from all the hurt that's happened to them. Men can't be so quick to just throw somebody out. Oh, I'm done with her. Why? Because she hard-headed, man. She don't listen, you know. Well, you didn't listen for years to the Most High Yah. It's the same relationship. But he was patient and long-suffering and didn't take you out. So you need to show that same patient, long-suffering, and understanding. And I'm not sitting here talking about something I didn't do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not, like me and Sister Koya, you know, we've been married over 10 years now. And the unique thing about me and Koya, we didn't understand it growing up, but we understand it now, is like I didn't understand why I didn't have any of these skills growing up, why I was so lost. But the Most High purposely made me to be lost so he could take me through all this so I could teach y'all about it. Same thing with Sister Koya. And like we came from huge odds of situations, you know what I'm saying? Like our chances of making things work were just slim to nothing because we didn't know nothing. But we were willing to grow and learn and all that, and that's what we've done with our marriage. Now, and we ain't no perfect, hey, you know, Leave It to Beaver, Brady Bunch up in here. No. You know, we have our situations, but we know how to work through them, you know? So, yeah. All right, let me read some of y'all's comments. It says, can you talk about brothers taking second wives and abandoning them because they feel they can? Yeah, yeah, let me speak on that. Can a man have multiple wives according to the Bible? Yeah, it's in there. It's not illegal. But what these dudes don't understand is men, like most dudes I run into, don't even need to have one wife. They damn near ain't in a good, because they can't even make the relationship with themselves work. And I'm telling you, I done seen brothers with multiple wives that they're not even in a good relationship with themselves, let alone they're not even ready for one wife. But because they horny, or for whatever reason, they want multiple wives. A biblically masculine, grounded man, yeah, he can, but it's not a lot of people. Like, a lot of people don't want to overcome pornography addiction. They don't want to overcome pornography addiction and masturbation and all that stuff like that. A lot of men don't want to face the fact that they're easily frustrated. They don't want to face that. They got so much pride, they don't want to look at themselves. Boy, I got some people in mind when I'm talking about this. You know what I'm saying? And I'd never speak on that, but I'm just saying I've seen it out in the Hebrew community with big name people out there who are all over social media, and it's like, dude, and I don't even know their situation. I sit there and watch them talk, and I'm like, yo, that dude got a lot to work through. It's like, dang, he got multiple wives. Whoo. But a biblically masculine man with a biblically grounded woman, feminine woman, they're not selfish. They understand the economics and the benefits of having a sister wife and multiple wives and all that, and it works out. But again, a lot of our people, I've run into a couple people who, they got multiple wives, and I can tell it's beneficial for everybody involved because everybody is spiritually at the level for it. Most people ain't. We're coming out of a captivity where we've been in a coma with amnesia. You know what I'm saying? By design. And we ain't got a culture. So most people ain't ready for that. Nah. Most people are just doing that for themselves. That's the best way I could put it. Most people are jumping into that multiple wives things for themselves. Yeah. And then they end up hurting more women. If, like, Sister Koya understands that there can be multiple wives and all that stuff like that, and that I could get another wife. She understands that, but I wouldn't, if she ain't with it, I wouldn't do it if it's going to lead to her, if it's going to mess up her walk and her growth with the Most High. So a lot of these dudes are so selfish, their woman can't handle it. Well, I'm allowed to do it, so I'm going to do it anyway. And then they end up messing up her walk. But they don't, a lot of these dudes are selfish. They don't care. Oh, that's on her because it's book. Yeah, but, so yeah, man, I could get all into that. Is it legal? Yeah, absolutely. But is it what's needed in your situation? Do you need to grow? That's just, but the same way I put that as I could put it like this also. There's people I've told, you know what? You shouldn't jump into that marriage right now. Because you need to grow and they need to grow. Okay, Mike. But I'm not going to get mad at you when you do. Because I already know they're going to get into it and then be hitting me, man, you was right up. Yeah. But yeah, so it's like, there's some people who don't need to be, like, I've met people who don't need to even be associating with humans because they got so much work to do on themselves. So yeah. All right, so let's see what y'all in here saying. A brother Bobby, you gotta look at. He gave the northern tribe a bill of divorce, and he stayed married to the southern tribe. So, just saying, you know. But I'm not. I'm not gonna get into that. I mean, all right. Let's see. Let's see. You have to both follow the Most High, or it won't work. Yep. Oh, on it, man. Can you? All right. So let's see. It frustrates me when our brothers are more focused on collecting multiple women versus healing our women. That's good, sis. I agree. And I'm going to tell you what pisses me off even more is when I see a brother so quick to throw a woman out and they have zero understanding. That's why, look, that's why over here in Spiritual Combat, the bulk of the teachings are on spiritual development and relationships. Because these same brothers, hold on. These same people, because it ain't just brothers out here teaching this crap. These same people out here, they know, and I'm telling you right here, they know the Bible better than me. They know all the verses better than me. They know the Hebrew better than me. But, I mean, Judas knew the Bible better than me. Judas knew the Hebrew better than me. You see what I'm saying? But they're not applying none of it. I done unsubscribed from so many people's channel because it's just a bunch of head knowledge and nothing that's really gonna help you. When the whole book, everything you read is pointing you to what? Getting your mind right. That's what the whole book's pointing to. And not talking about it, but it's telling you it's an instruction to get your mind right. And everybody just studying the instruction and all that stuff. And it's like, how you know the Bible better than me and you so quick to throw our women out? When we all are women God. But they so selfish about their life and their happiness, they're not willing to sacrifice and go through what it takes to just be somebody who's going to be there for our women, who's going to be a pillar. Like Sister Koi, we getting our little arguments, but she know at the end of the day, she know I ain't going nowhere. I ain't putting up with no crap though either. But I ain't going nowhere. I might get frustrated. If I do, I go take a time out, whatever. And let some time go by and come right back and we'll talk it out. That simple thing that I just said right there is a huge issue among our people. And it ties back to being stubborn and stiff-necked. Sister Hannah said, I show my husband your show so that he hears a strong male in the faith. My husband is an unbeliever who has church hurt, so your show is a good example of real life application of biblical truth. Your husband is if your husband church hurt and frustrated with the church, he a real man. All praises. God forbid he into that silliness that they teach in the church that ain't got nothing to do with the daggone Bible. Like the sign of a real man is he don't like going to church. That's a sign that your man has his balls on him, is that he don't want to go to the church. Because please don't get me started on that. I'm not going to get started on that because you're going to get me way off. But yeah, all praises that your husband is a real man. And that's good. Let's see. Uh-oh. Koya put something in here. Let's see what she said. She said, I'm so glad we have overcome many of these issues over the last 12 years. She said, I'm in a place where shalom is priority. If there's an issue, I'll voice my concern, pray about it, and move on. And that's real talk with Koya. Like, she 100. And I don't mind how she voiced it, because, look, don't get it twisted. Koya is a small, cute, little, petite thing, but don't get it twisted. She is a honey badger when she want to be. Like, she would run over most of these dudes out here and dominate them. You know what I'm saying? And she voiced her concern. I don't get mad and shook up, but she'll let me know what's going on and not spare my feelings about it. Cool. And then, like she said, she'll move on because she know I will consider. I'll think about it. And then we'll work it out. Same thing here. And I'm a straight line, you know. But at the end of the day, I'm not no ignorant lion. You know what I'm saying? I'm willing to consider and all that. And she said, for the record, I don't agree with multiple wives in captivity. There you go. So, but I do. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know. And I mean, but it is what it is. All right, Yvette put, what do you do if he decides to not be with you and refuse to give you a letter of divorce? According to the Bible, leave him alone. Just leave him alone. Leave him alone. Especially if he's out there running around with somebody and there's a risk of STDs and all that stuff. YouTube, I'm coming over to you. I'm getting ready to look over y'all's comment. Yeah. Leave him alone. And, eventually he will. And that's what the Bible, if I could go in and break that down, but when it talked about putting your wife away, they'd separate from him, but they wouldn't give him a bill of divorce, so then the woman couldn't move on, and it was something the men would do. But yeah, and just leave him alone, and all that. So and you can ask, hey, I want you to give me a divorce. Eventually they will. So Mikael Yisrael said, Shalom, Mak, what are some good advice for dealing communication and comprehension issues? I'm not sure what you're saying. Shalom, Mak, what's some good advice for dealing with communication issues? And I don't understand what you mean. Do you mean she is not communicating to you, or you're not communicating to her, or she not understanding you? Let me know what you mean. Write another thing in there and let me know what you mean. I'm coming over here to YouTube now. Christ is a spiritual husband and head of the adult unmarried daughters of Zion. Yeah. Koya just put something in it. She put, I'm direct and straightforward, and I mean what I say. I stand firm in what is right. I absolutely hate arguments. They are counterproductive, the lowest form of communication. Yep. But sometimes it's time to be a soldier. You got to go to war with them. Nah, but yeah. But me and Koya have gotten to a point where, we know each other, and we know, like, even if we get in an argument, we already know how it's gonna go, So it ain't like what I've seen out there. It's not like some of the calls and direct messages I get about, you be shot. That's why I said there's a lot of people in this that in the Hebrew Israelite movement. Okay, they're in the movement. They're well studied in the word, which doesn't mean nothing if you studied and you done memorize all this information, but they're doing none of it, and their relationships reflect it. Okay, all right. Christ is the spirit. All right, let's see. All I hear is I want to live my life. Everybody wants me to do what they want, but never hear these same men say, I want to please Yah. All I hear is, I want to live my life. Everybody wants me to do what they want me. Never. So, Sister Tammy, like, I don't know if I got into it, but when you're a woman and you're married to a man who's not being obedient to this truth, and it's vice versa, and it's okay, but I'll say for men and women alike, when it's unequal like that, and you're in the truth and your man's not, the quickest, most efficient way to win him to this truth, or the most effective way to try to win him to this truth, is to, like that verse says, you win him by your chaste conversation. I'm not quoting it word for word, but I think it's in not Colossians, Corinthians, but it says win him, or it's in Ephesians. It says win him to this truth by your quiet, shamefaced, obedient behavior. Like, if you stop nagging and you stop being resistant and you're obedient to him and you do what he says, as long as it's not against his word, it is going to grab his attention big time. And it's going to take such a burden off him in his life, because men are already fighting everything out in this culture. And then a lot of men have to come home and fight the person who's supposed to be adding to their life. Well, they got to come home and fight that too. So when you become an asset by his side, it is the most powerful, most effective, most efficient thing, and that's book. That's what the Bible says. Proverbs 31 says it. That verse I just tried to quote says it. Okay? And it's just like that verse says. It's quick, powerful than any two-edged sword. The biblical solutions to these issues are powerful, but a lot of women are seduced by these doctrines of demons telling them, twisting scripture, telling them to be resistant and catering to these negative emotions that these women are harboring over bitterness, unforgiveness, and other things they've struggled with. But that is the reality. Same thing with a man. Like, there was a man, I remember this dude called me and he was asking me, he went down, he told me the whole situation, and I told him what he needed to do. Probably what I told him he needed to do was probably what somebody, his wife or somebody, was already telling him what he needed to do. When I told him what he needed to do, I was like, dude, you got to man up. I was like, you got to make better decisions. And he didn't even tell me a whole bunch of stuff. I told him, you got to make better decisions in your relationship. You got to be a better leader to where she can respect that leadership. You got to do this here. And I told him what he had to do. And he got pissed with me on the phone. And basically was like, all right, well, anyway, man, I'll talk to you later. I was like, wow. I was like, all that time I spent listening to what he was saying, asking questions, and I come with the solution, and he just gets short with me and frustrated. But, yeah. So, and what I told him would have just naturally, instinctually made his woman fall in line and begin to follow him. You know, but again, when men come to me and they're desperate and I tell them what they need to do and they're desperate, they'll do it. But some men ain't desperate enough yet. So then when I tell them what they need to do, you know, and this is the point I'm getting at, men and women alike. The thing you need to do to fix your relationship is always the last thing you even want to think about doing. Like for women, it's submitting to a man. And in order for a woman to submit to a man, they got to address all the bitterness and unforgiveness they got welled up inside. For a man, it's to act like a damn man. And they've been subject to women their whole life. They were raised by their mama and dominated by their mama and have been brainwashed through society, through the media, through church, to let their wives dominate them and treat their wife like mama. And when I'm telling them, no, don't treat her like mama. Treat her like she's made for you, like the Bible says. The woman is made for the man. And they're like, oh, that wouldn't feel right. You see what I'm saying? It's a heavy thing. It's a heavy thing. It's heavy. So she put, gotta be strong. I don't agree with multiple wives in any stage of our nation, but that is a story. That's another topic. And the reason why you don't hear me really teaching on it or going in on it, because most men ain't ready for one wife. Okay? And most women ain't ready for one husband, for marriage. Like, people don't understand. Here I am 42 now, and I'm just now getting everything to where I got a good grasp on how to make this thing work with one wife. I'm not adding to get another wife, and this will all be gray. All right. Say, I will calmly state my piece and listen for a response without arguing. Okay. And some of these statements are from earlier. Amos, can two walk together except they be agreed? Exactly. Notice the question. Okay, you were replying to him. I see the question and will listen to all the options. If trying to figure out a direction to go for my family if I had one. I'm single at the moment. Michael, yeah. Notice. I hate my piece and listen. Response without arguing. Yeah, arguing is not a sin. Okay. You get emotional. It's a relationship. But you being angry. See, a lot of Christianity, you got to always strip Christianity off stuff, because Christianity is gay and feminizing and soft and weak, and it's designed to disempower you. So a lot of people think arguing and being angry is a sin, when the Bible clearly says be angry. It says you could be angry, but sin not. When you act out on anger in a malicious way, it's no longer anger, it's rage, it's wrath. And then what does it say in the next verse? It says, let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Don't be wrathful. Wrath is when you're thinking of a way to hurt somebody because your anger just went into rage. Okay? But the Bible says be angry. The Most High has the emotion of anger. But when it's not acted out righteously, it's not. So it ain't like you can't argue and express a strong point. Like, Koi gets angry with me and will yell at me or whatever. That's not a sin. She's not out of order. She's not being disrespectful. Now, when it just drags on for days on end, now there's an issue. And I deal with a lot of situations where it's like that. Koi will get angry, say something to me, we'll argue. A couple hours later, we sitting in each other's arms. Because we know each other. It ain't like that. But that's healthy people who are spiritually developed. If folks is mad for days on end, there's a lot of spiritual growth that needs to go on. Because you can't rectify situations. Let me see what y'all saying here. All right, let me see if I responded. Being an example, living in truth. Okay, he didn't. Okay, so yeah. So let me tell you this. Biblical relationship principles. If you're single, boom, boom, you're doing this spiritual work to you arrive at the point where you're ready to get in a relationship. You get in a relationship. It's the next level of spiritual growth. It's the next level of spiritual growth. That's what a relationship is. It's your next level of spiritual growth. The problem is a lot of these brothers, sisters too, get in this word. They done learn this word. A lot of them haven't even done the spiritual work to get their relationship with their self right. Okay? Some of them half-heartedly have, and they don't realize that a relationship is the next level of spiritual growth. And they get in a relationship and they don't want to look at themselves, and it's a hot mess. It's a disaster. And it shows that they don't understand the word. And man, y'all think I'm playing, but as I've seen this, as I've discerned this with, and this is leaders. There's leaders in the Hebrew community, camp leaders and congregational leaders. When I say camp and congregational, I'm talking about camp Hebrews, or the more kind of camp based, you know what I'm talking about, type of Hebrew Israelites, and congregational Hebrew Israelites. These are Hebrew Israelites that are more geared to winning people out of churches. Camp Hebrews are more geared to winning people from the streets. But both sides are, a lot of people aren't willing to do that work, to look at themselves, to humble down. We as a nation are a stubborn and stiff-necked people. God took a whole chapter in, I think it's Ezekiel, to say that. He said if he had went to another nation, they'd have been listened. But we are just super stubborn and stiff-necked as a nation. There's a spirit in us that I observed in myself. And I observed it so clearly in myself, I was like, what the hell is that? Like, what is that thing? And most High showed me through reading this word, oh, you're stubborn and stiff-necked. You got that spirit on you as a nation. I was like, dang. I ran into it on literally that hardcore, where I know I'm rock-headed. Because I just be 100. It took a lot for me to really, him to break me. Like, yeah. So it's like we are so stiff and rock-headed that spirit stops us from even seeing certain things. And you got to pray for him to show it to you. And tell him, be gentle showing it to me, please, y'all. Because like the first time I made that prayer, he showed it to me and it was painful because I was so rock-headed. The situations had to really be, the situation really had to be painful for me to for it to get my attention. Yeah. So you get two stiff-necked, rock-headed knuckleheads in a relationship, it's gonna be Rocky 4 up in there. So somebody put, how do you know when you're ready for a relationship? As women, we will stay single for a minute and think we're ready until something happens within those dynamics. Okay. So I'm going to talk about that from a woman's aspect. The way a woman's going to know that a lot of women are single because, number one, there's more women than men. It's women outnumber men by like 7 or something. I'm going to tell you this. Our women are, they're the weaker vessel. So the brainwashing of this society has had a harder effect on them. But a woman, what a woman needs to do is align herself with what the model is. And what's the model? The Proverbs 31 woman. So are you a Proverbs 31 woman? You know what I'm saying? And you also need to know how to spot a good man according to this word. You know, a righteous man who ain't wrestling with lust and pornography and not ruled by his emotions. Contrary to popular belief, men are very emotional. Like, look, like I'm emotional, but I've aligned my emotions righteously. But I see them hips and dips. I'm feeling some types of emotions. You know what I'm saying? But I've bridled them and subjugated them to the point where, you know, I see some fine looking woman, it don't overtake me. You know what I'm saying? I've gotten my lust under control to where I ain't got to be running up, you know, chasing after women on the side and all that. But that's kind of getting off the topic of what we were saying. Women have to learn how to spot those types of men. And what the Bible says in Colossians, it talks about inordinate affections. It says, mortify your members, which are upon the earth, from inordinate affections, evil concupiscence, all that. Inordinate affections is overly strong emotions that blind you. So these are areas that women and men alike have to get under control, because if you get too, if you waste too much time and you're talking to a man too long, or if it's a man, he's talking to a woman too long, those emotions, you got to be efficient with evaluating these people, because those emotions get too strong too quick, and you're not able to judge unbiased. Like, your emotions will cloud your judgment. You end up choosing some nut. All right. So going back to what she said, how do you know as a woman when you're ready for a relationship? You need to know what you're looking for in a man. You need to know what a good man looks like. Okay. You can't just say, oh, he's 6'2", marriage. Let me go marry him. You know, and he some nut who punches you in the head every week. You know, you have to know you have to be able to discern the spirit of, you know, and know what a good man looks like. How are you gonna know that? And when I say looks like, spiritually, how are you gonna know that? You gotta study stuff like this. You gotta study, like in the coming parts of this series, I'm gonna be bringing out Bible verses and showing you biblically masculine men and what the qualities are and all that. And then once you get that understood, which is just book work or whatever you want to call it, you got to implement it. But it takes a couple weeks to learn the qualities of what a biblically masculine man is. The weighty matter is getting your mind right to where you're not, because you could be, you could find the right man and be the wrong woman for a good man and still screw it up. So you got to get your mind right, which I'm going to be teaching that here. It's all in the Bible. If you don't want to listen to me, I mean, you could read Proverbs 31 and the qualities of a good woman. And what you have to do is look in yourself and see where, because I'm telling you, it's telling you what the qualities of a good woman are, because in order to function in those levels, you have to face yourself. A woman, you can't submit to a man if you harbor in bitterness and unforgiveness and hurt and all this garbage from your past that you haven't dealt with. You just stuffed it down like a garbage can or whatever, and you ain't dealt with it. It'll never work. It's going to well up and it's going to destroy your relationship. You got to deal with all that stuff. And it's about action. Faith without works is dead. You ain't gonna just pray this away or worship it away in some emotional blackout box church where you gotta really go through and do this work, or you won't. You have to change spiritually. I'm not saying worship, praise and worship music is bad, but that's not what brings the change. It just brings an emotional high. It'll motivate you to keep going, but at the end of the day, you gotta face yourself. once you got all that, once you understand what a good man looks like, and once you've made yourself into a good woman, it's simple to meet the right man. That could take 2-3 months max. All you have to do is go where the good men are at. Where are the good men at? How do you find where the good men are at? Okay, the way you find where the good men are at is you want a man that's biblically aligned with this word right here. Okay, so what do? You find a good ministry, whether it's online or off, or it's easier to find them online now. You find somebody teaching this truth, and then when they have an event, you make sure you go there. And when you go to an event, don't be sitting in the corner looking like you sucking on lemons and limes. Walk around looking like you drinking lemonade. You're like, hey, how you doing? And show yourself to be friendly. And while you're sitting there talking to them with a smile on your face, you like Terminator. You analyzing everything. You're asking questions. How long you been in this truth? If they follow me, I bang on lust big time, So they're trying to do, you see what I'm saying? Or I don't know who else is out there. They might follow Morris and Josh. So they're facing certain issues in their life and trying to get themselves right if they're up under that ministry. And just, again, approach with caution, analyze, and figure it out. And that's how you meet a man or vice versa or a woman in this truth. What you don't want to do is be like, okay, I'm grounded, I got my mind right as a woman and all this stuff like that. And hey, hold on one sec. I think I'm having a streaming issue over here on Facebook. Y'all bear with me. Okay, no, it's all right. It's just my bandwidth is acting up a little bit. What you don't want to do is what you don't want to do is go and learn all this and all that and be like, because I get people, Michael, I done studied, I done got my mind right, I done did this, I done did that, I done did the other, and I'm still not meeting nobody. And well, what are you doing? Well, I wake up, and then I go to work, which is full of sinners. Then I come home, and I go to the grocery store where I'm surrounded by sinners, and then I do that every week. Rinse and repeat. That's why you. Have you gone to the conferences and stuff they have in your region? Not in your state, in your region. Say instead of pass on a nail job, don't buy those shoes, save your money up and go to this event. And you go there, and now instead of this man or whoever seeing you online as a face, now he actually knows who you are. You've seen him, he's seen you. They ain't no psycho because they're right in front of you. So because the best form of communication is personal interaction, because 90% of communication is body language. And even with me, while I'm on here, it's still a one-way form of communication. Don't be like, oh, well, I can message him with instant messenger video call. No, in person, where there's no place to escape, and it's just you and them there, and the pressure's on, and you can evaluate, Because when it comes to meet somebody, you got to be brutally, ruthlessly efficient with your time. Because if you waste too much time, you're going to end up wasting time with the wrong person. Your emotions are going to end up getting attached. You end up fantasizing like, oh, well, yeah, me and him could do this and go here and do, and then it's a mess and your judgment's clouded. Like, you got to be like somebody looking for a car, like the way I go look for a car. Like the way I look for a car, I don't care what the hell the car looks like. I'm like, how easy is the engine to work on? How cheap are the parts for this transmission? I'm evaluating all this stuff. I ain't falling emotionally in love with it or anything yet. I'm You see what I'm saying? That's how you gotta be. Okay? So, sister put, this is true, Ak. When I stopped wanting a man and decided my all to please Yah, he sent my husband to me, who was seeking the Most High, and he found me through the leading of Yah. Good. That's good. See, it's just backing up what I'm saying. One thing I can add is make sure you both have worked on deliverance in your lives from any demonic oppression that may have come into your lives from personal sins as well as sins of ancestors. Exactly. Yeah, and it's again about before you jump in a relationship, doing that work, because a lot of that bitterness, unforgiveness that our women have leads to demonic possession and oppression. A lot of these women, man, and I see them, man. Some of them are out there on Facebook in leadership positions and all this, and a lot of these women, just from the work I've done on myself and with other people, my discernment is a little higher, and I see it on them. I see these women just wrestling, and they think people can't see it, but you can see that, hey, this woman is really hurt, and I see it. Same thing with men, with that feminine spirit on them. A lot of our men, and they end up getting a relationship and treat the woman like mommy, and it's a turn off. And the men are just totally confused of why the relationship is a mess. They have a lot of these men have an Ahab spirit on them. They're demonically possessed with lust. They're demonically possessed with a feminine spirit, and they have to deal with that head on. So yes, Tammy, she's spot on. Shalom in your hearts and homes. To Michael, I see it too. Okay, so important. I also had to confess my sins to other brothers. I had them pray for me to get them demons off me. Yep. And let me always emphasize this when it comes to getting these demons off you. Don't get deceived, man. You get these demons off you, you gotta vigilantly, aggressively, adamantly, I don't know whatever words I could use. Like, you gotta fill yourself with this word and this truth, like your life depends on it. Like, the only thing that should be more of a priority than getting yourself filled up and fortified with this word after you get delivered from a demon, the only thing that should be of higher priority is your next breath, period. Otherwise, you're going to be worse than you were before. Y'all know the scripts. It's basic. Like, this book, what it's telling you to do ain't complicated. All right, God, rejoice in this. All right, so yeah, So yeah, y'all, that is part 1 of this series. What I would ask y'all to do, if this lesson was fulfilling to you, if you're on YouTube, man, hit that like button for me. That helps me out. So hit the like button if you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, share this. That helps me out the most. If you appreciated the information that was brought out today in this lesson, just support me in that way. Just simply hit that like button if you're on YouTube watching. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified whenever I go live if this bless you. And definitely hit that like button because that helps me out. And if somebody asks, More, how can singles who are dating not fall in sexual sin? Good question. And I addressed it, but I'm glad you asked it in that way because I'm going to address it again. What I said, when you're dealing with people in these relationships, you got to be brutally and ruthlessly efficient with your time. because it's not going to be long before y'all get the naughty tingles and y'all want to, you know, you want to get up in that, you know, or vice versa, or you want that up in you, you know, which is natural. But that's why you got to, like, with me, with a lot of women and stuff like that, because I've done so much work on myself and on women. So me, I know what I want, and I know how to discern real good because I've done the work on myself and I got understanding, and you've done your studying. So now you can discern whether a woman's marriage material or not. So it don't take long to figure out whether you're going to hop in a relationship with somebody. Like with me, I could know whether a woman is good relationship material a lot. Most women I can weed out without even ever talking to them, without them ever seeing me. Because like the stuff I'm looking at is, okay, if she walking around with her big butt flopping around in some spandex, I'm already done with them. You know what I'm saying? With me, there's a lot of stuff I look for right off the jump. I'm looking to disqualify them. If you're a woman, you should be looking to disqualify men. There's certain body shapes of women I don't want. So I'm immediately, you got to be ruthlessly efficient with your time. You ain't got time to be messing around because you get attached too quick. You can only fight the desire to run up in that thing so long. So, and vice versa, same with the woman. So I immediately disqualify the women for me, my personal things based, but I know what I want. Certain types of hair. I like natural women. So that's immediate disqualifier. And I'm not in the market. I'm not looking for women. So don't get it twisted. All right. I'm married, so whatever. But I'm just saying what I would have been looking for. Natural woman, like a certain type of build, dressing modestly. Right there, I just weeded out 80 to 90% of women. Okay? So then the next thing I'm looking at is walk up. I'm seeing if they make eye contact. You know, how friendly they are, you know. If they ain't friendly, I'm done with them. That quick, you're out. That's why a lot of women who got attitudes, they can't figure out. A good man will never come across your radar because he peeps you out before you never even see him. They don't even come into your field of vision. They done weeded you out. The whores that walk around with spandex and with their butt all out, the good men who have their lust under control never even come near you. They stay away from you. You only meet lust-filled dogs because they can't control themselves. They have to talk to you. You see what I'm saying? So what I do is I weed them out. I don't even waste time trying to get to know folks when I see certain things. Okay? They meet all those. They're friendly. Right there, I just narrowed it down to maybe 10% of women. And then I'll talk to her, see where her head's at, make sure she's in the truth, you know. Usually one conversation, and I can know, hey, I'm talking about the first conversation, meeting them at a conference or something, you'll know whether, hey, is this somebody we could pursue something with? You know what I'm saying? You could discern her spirit, if it's haughty and all that, off the first conversation. And then you'd be like, oh, I ain't messing with her. She sounds like she got a big mouth because it's kind of coming across now, you know? You could discern all that first conversation. But boom, she meets all this stuff. She friendly. You start talking to her. She got kind of a shame-faced type of attitude. A shame-face, if you look up the definition of that word, let me see. Shamed face, because that's how it talks. It says that's a double grace. Shame face. Oh crap. Hold on. I typed it in the wrong area. Shamefaced. The definition, shamefaced. Definition, modest or bashful. Okay? Not that I do it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, whatever. And they like all, you know what I'm saying? But shamefaced is modest, bashful. Let me, feeling or expressing shame or embarrassment. Shamefaced, showing modesty, showing shame. Like, not all, and they like all kind of prideful and aggressive type, or, you know, that, what I and I'm not, because of my not so good vocabulary, I can't really express what I'm saying, but they come off with they're not going to be kind of submissive to you. You see what I'm saying? So that's another big sign of where I'll be like, oh, I'm done. Oh, they bad news, you know? Where a shamefaced woman, you know, that's going to be, so boom. So right there, first interaction, I could discern all that in the first interaction and know that there's a high chance, there's a greater than 90% chance we'll get married. Right there off the bat, if they fulfill all those requirements right off the jump. That I like their physical appearance, boom, 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 all that stuff down the road. Now, for women, for a man, what you should be looking for, okay? Now, this don't get taught. This is the good stuff here. So for a woman, if you're walking around, you're showing yourself to be friendly, you're willing to make eye contact, and that man is not willing to come up to you and talk, right there, you know, he weak, he's soft, he's full of fear because he's not willing, he's too scared to come up and talk to a woman. Women, don't go up talking to men, because if a man's scared to come up to you and talk, you don't want to be in a relationship with him. You're not going to be attracted to him. He's going to be weak, soft, because he's not willing to face his fear and come up and talk to you. Okay? So leave him alone. Let them, just the only thing you can do is show yourself to be friendly. You know, if he makes eye contact to you, hey, how you doing? And then he should be willing to come up to you after that. If he's too scared to do that, he going to treat you like mommy in a relationship, and you're going to detest him because he's not being a real man. So right there, you just weeded out 80% of guys, because most of them is scared to come up. Good. All praises to the Most High Yah that you ain't meet Ahab, because that's what he is. And if he too scared to do that, he probably a one-handed internet bandit whacking off the porn and all that and ashamed of himself. And I don't care. You know, you need to man up. Men need to be soldiers and go to war. And overcome one of the biggest fears for a man is walking up and talking to women. This is why 90% of men are weak. It's just 100. So right there, you got that out of the way. Then, okay, he does come up and talk to you. You have to use, before your lust and emotion want to jump on his belly and all that stuff like that, you have to use your feminine skills that you women have perfected to a whole nother level of discernment. Because even me and the work I've done, and I got that discernment now. Like I've grown my ability to discern stuff. Koya still can discern stuff better than me. She like, cause y'all women naturally have it. So you have to use your discernment of like, hey, what's going on with this dude? Like, is he really, truly pursuing the Most High Yah, or is he just talking a good game wordily? You got to be able to discern that. I don't think I really have to teach women this. I don't know. Maybe I do. I don't know. I don't think I do, though. Like, I think women can read into things good. Because I done seen Koya spot stuff so far out that I thought she just crazy and insecure. And then way later, it was shown to be correct. So I hope that, like, Maury, you don't play no games. Leave men alone who are scary. And yeah, leave them scary dudes alone, man. Yup. Because a man ain't supposed to be scared or fearful. A man is not supposed to be fearful. Because I get scared. Like, things scare me, but I don't have fear. And if something scares me too much, you know what I do? I go through it. So it don't scare me no more. Like, if I'm scared to do something and it's too strong, I go do it. Just so it ain't scaring me no more. That's just the type of dude I am. You know what I'm saying? But it's so widespread out here, man, that y'all women don't know. 90% of dudes, I'm not talking about the Hebrew Israelite stuff. Period. In the Hebrew Israelite thing and out of it, 90% of dudes is scared and weak as hell. And they're not willing to stand up to it. They don't even want to stand up to women on stuff. 90% of dudes in the truth. 90% of your leaders in the Hebrew Israelite community. Scary. You know what I'm saying? And don't ask me to prove it, because I can. You think I'm not playing. All right. Being Tammy Lynn, I am a... Okay. Let's see. As a single man, I was looking for a Proverbs 31 for men in Scripture. Haha, good question. Because I used to say that same thing. What's the template? Like, what's the standard for us as men to align ourselves to know how to deal with our woman? It's the whole book, because it says Christ, how he dealt with Israel is how a man is to deal with his wife. Christ dealing with Israel is a model of how you are to deal with your wife. And Christ was not always cupcakes and bubble gum with Israel. Like, he was patient, he was long suffering, but when they got too far out of order, he'd check them on it. He didn't let them run over it. He wasn't a bootlicker to them. You know what I'm saying? But on the same, so it's that model. That's the same model of how you deal with women. Okay? And in the coming lessons, brother Marky Yah, I'm gonna go to the minute detail to where there will be no confusion of how you are to interact and deal with a woman in a relationship, or even when you meet them. Because when you meet women, when you're truly grounded in biblical masculinity, and that's what I call it, when you're truly grounded in biblical masculinity, when you meet women, this stuff, it's exuded, it's pushed out, like they can see it on you. They can discern the groundedness and the masculinity on you when they meet you and talk to you, even the first time. And it's, guess what, to women? It's attractive to women when they see it on you. Because you're not, hey, how you doing? You know, you're so beautiful and I really like you, you know? And they're like, ooh, you weak. You know what I'm saying? But when you meet them, you just exude masculinity and you're yourself and you're not trying to take from them. You just talking with them. You don't need them. You don't have to have them or anything. You see what I'm saying? But I'm going to go into all that in detail in this series. If you don't want to wait for the series, I got hundreds of videos on it already that you can look back on YouTube. They're easier to find on YouTube, but they're on Facebook too. Okay? So yeah, Margia, the best I came up with is when Israel came out of Egypt and Moses had to appoint judges and Jethro told him the kind of men he should choose. Yeah. So yeah, but like I said, I got plenty of lessons. Family, there are 31 people in chat. Can only see 8 likes, please. Yeah, Tammy said, please hit the like, man. There's only 8 likes, man. Hit that like button on YouTube for me, please, y'all. YouTube plays. Yeah, I think YouTube be playing games on that junk too. But we should check back to see if. Okay, I just screamed in here. You said that. Okay, so yep. In my young days, when you complained to mom that shirt covers all. What I'm saying, sis, Sister Tammy Lynn, being Tammy Lynn, let me tell you something about the modesty. Okay? Always, the way I break this word down is I break down the purpose of why and all this stuff. To where you got some women, they put something on. So is this modest? Look, they be like, so brother, is this modest? Damn titties poking out like hammers. What I'm saying is, you're not trying to be modest to say, hey, is this modest? Cover yourself up so the lust dogs don't have nothing to provoke them. Literally hide your body so you don't get attacked. If you think of it like that, then you won't attract these. Because you get a confident brother who will come up to you because he's in the truth and he's sincerely confident, or you get a lust-filled dog who's so desperate for some, and you done got him turned on so much that he'll come across with false confidence. So what I'm saying, don't try to dress in modest apparel so that you're keeping the law or whatever. You covering up to hide yourself from these lust demons. That's what I'm telling you. So with that said right there, now you're going to be fine. You're going to be cool. You see what I'm saying? Because that is what the Bible is telling you. The Bible's telling you, he's not saying dress in modest apparel. Why? Because I said so. So just do what I said. There's a reason he said it. But if you're so desperate, you want to attract the lust-filled dog, if you want to attract the man with your body, and that man's attracted to you by your body, guess what? Every other woman got a body too. You know, big hammers and stuff like that is a dime a dozen. All the women, there's plenty of women got them. So once that runs off with you, he gonna be messing around with somebody else. So cover it up and hide it. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of women are like, well, but a lot of women don't realize the problems that this brings. They've been brainwashed into competing with other women and all that. You don't want to do that. You competing with other women for drama in your life. Like, who could attract the best drama? And then everybody wonders why 90% of the marriages or why relationships are a mess. So, exactly, Proverbs 31. It's all about that. And Brother Rick, my thing, everybody here, most of y'all in here, most of y'all got these scriptures down probably better than me. You know what I'm saying? As far as memorizing them and knowing where they at. Because, see, everybody know that they need to be covering their butt up. Okay? Everybody know what the Bible say. I don't need to bring the 20 scriptures out. But most people don't really understand why. You see what I'm saying? So, me and my husband are in the truth, but I also know what he also likes. Trying to find the balance. Yeah, I mean, I like my wife, I like her shape, and I like her butt naked. I don't like her with no clothes on, but when she go out this house, that's mine. I don't want nobody looking at it because I am jealous with a godly jealousy. Most High was jealous. So Me personally, if I could, we'd be like the Middle East and all her junk would be covered up. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want nobody seeing what's mine, you know. But I'm not some tyrant like that. But I like her to be covered up. I don't like other dudes looking at her because I love her. You know what I'm saying? But again, I'm not some freak show with it either. Like, I'm not some insane jealous person with like, you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm worrying about it like that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you know, because Corey be like, so Michael, you like this outfit? I'm like, nah. I like what's under there. I care less about that. But yeah, you can wear that. You can wear it out. It's good. You know, she be like, whatever, Michael. You know. So yeah. All right. Okay. So she said, if Yah sees fit to bless me with an ish, if I can't discern his spirit, yeah. Sister, like, look, spiritual discernment and discerning a spirit. Let me say this real quick. If on, because I always try to make sure I'm clarifying stuff to what it really is, so people ain't thinking it's Disney magic and feeling, you know. Spiritual discernment. So if you're a woman, being able to discern a man's spirit, or if you're a man, being able to discern a woman's spirit, is in order to be able to do it well, you need to be putting this word in you. The more word, the more you know what to look for, the more you're gonna see it, and that's what spiritual discernment is. So if you're sitting there watching TV and all these dumb shows, and then you think you're gonna go out there and discern the spirit correctly, you're not. You can get some idiot, you know. But if you're filling yourself with the word and doing your search and studying and watching teachings like what I'm teaching, and there might be other people out there teaching this, and fill yourself with that instead of garbage, then when you see somebody, you'll discern them quick. You know, you'll see somebody and they have dodgy eye contact, and they be over there like this looking at you, and then you look, and then they're like, and you're like, yep, one-handed internet bandit. I ain't messing with him. Keep it moving. Boom. That's it. And vice versa for the women also. You know, you'll see some big mouth woman over there running her big old mouth, tight clothes, everything hanging out. You be like, praise Yah for leading me this way. You know what I'm saying? Like over there looking at your future ex-wife. All right, let's see. Reinforcement, at least. Where are these creeps that you are referring? Tammy said positive reinforcement. Oh, okay. How do we protect ourselves from creeps who prey on modest women? Well, step one, cover up. And then where are you at where you're running into a bunch of creeps? Because what I was saying earlier is, like I used to show people, hey, you can meet people in the supermarket, but most people out in the world ain't in the truth. So what I told you is, if you want to meet people in the truth, first get under a ministry that's teaching this thing for real. I teach this thing for real. So if I put on a conference, when you come to it, you know that there's going to be like-minded people there that's really serious about getting their minds right and getting in relationships. So you stand a good chance when I do some type of conference, you're going to meet somebody. You got like a 90% chance you're going to meet somebody who in it. Now, if you following Bishop Lusty's ministry, he's like, he's some sweaty, you know, church speak talking bishop, you know, and you see the lust dripping down his forehead, and you go to his conference, you stand a very good chance of meeting lust-filled dogs over there. You see what I'm saying? If you go to a rebirth conference or something, you stand a good chance of meeting somebody good. The find a good ministry first. Make sure you got your mind right. And when they have a conference, go to it. And you stand a very good chance of there's going to be a lot of good men there that are really trying to get themselves together. On the same note, you can meet the right man, but if you a big mouth monster or you some type of, nagging nightmare, it still ain't going to work. So make sure you got your mind right and you're good when you go there. You know what I'm saying? I am married, but we have daughters, so I need to be able to protect my girls when my husband can't be with us. Get a gun. Protect them from what? Lusty dudes? Again, you got to explain what you're saying, sis, because I want to know. Sister, yeah, if you want to protect them on that level, yeah, get a gun. And you all, because I'm gonna be doing a self-defense, situational awareness and security conference here in Florida. I think I'm doing one in Georgia very soon. One of the things I teach, the main thing to avoiding something happening, you can avoid 90 or more % of danger by situational awareness, if that's what you're referring to. And that says don't be in stupid places at stupid times with stupid people. You should make sure, you should be careful that you never in any two of those that I just said. So don't be in a stupid place with a stupid person. A stupid place with a stupid person is, if you're in all three, you stand a very good chance of something bad happening. So a stupid place at a stupid time with stupid people would be going to, say, a gas station in a bad area where there's a bunch of knuckle-headed people outside, a bunch of, maybe a nightclub got out, and there's a bunch of drunk people out there, and it's 12 o'clock at night. It's situational awareness. Or the other one I gave you, don't go to the pastor's conference, where you're with some ministry. They never preach on anything. It's all emotionalism. It's all a bunch of worship music and jumping around and getting hot and sweaty. And they never teach the word, okay? And you go to one of their conferences. You're in a dumb place. You're at their conference at a dumb time with dumb people. You're going to meet some lust-filled dude, and it's going to be a mess. So situational awareness is how you protect your family and your daughters. I don't have people around my daughters. Like, I'm not fellowshipping with people I know to be weak and not have a lot of self-control. I don't have men around my family too much outside of the men I can vouch for. I don't have anybody up around me. And I don't have weak men in my life. I don't deal with weak men unless I'm counseling them into being strong men or weak women. And Koya, forget about it, dude. Koya she don't like anybody up in her house. Like, she got to really know you for you to be up in her house. She don't like anybody in the house, period, really, truth be told. She damn near don't like me up in it sometimes when I get too messy. But Koya is very protective about who's around her. She don't like being around just anybody. It's a small circle that she's willing to be around. And that's how you got to be. Good morning, Madison. Yeah, and that's how you got to be, especially as a man. It just ain't nobody coming around your kids, and you ain't just letting your kids be around anybody. And the other thing is, my kids, that marriage is going to be arranged, period. And if they don't want to do it, and they're like, well, Daddy, I'm 18, and I'm going to just go marry, peace. But they understand the craziness out there, you know? But yeah, definitely get, definitely, when I do this self-defense conference, definitely, if you're in the area, because I'm gonna do one at probably I might do it in Orlando or something. Definitely come to that. It's full training. You will know how to safely operate a Glock and shoot it accurately. And I got training weapons that fire, so we don't have to. You don't on the first phase of it. You don't have to shoot a real weapon. You know what I'm saying? But it operates exactly like the real thing. Do I have it? I think I have it. Yeah. See? This is it right here. Whoops. This is it right here. It's just like the real thing. Fires and everything. And it shoots. So if that's what you're worrying about, we're going to get a lot of people in our nation trained up on that stuff. When that comes out, but you don't need to. If you don't need a gun to protect yourself. If it comes down to where you gotta use a gun, you done did some. More than likely, you done made some stupid decisions, and you're in a dumb place. It's a dumb time, and there's dumb people around. Like if it gets to the point where you're worried about that, the key is situational awareness. Always know what's going on around you. You coming out the supermarket, don't come out the supermarket in a parking lot, and there's some weird looking van parked near your car, and you do. Because let me tell you, this is what they're doing now. What they do, you see all these kids coming up missing, what they do now, they take some chemical and put it on a card and hand the card to you. It's like, here's my card. They'll go, here's the card. Like this, right past your nose when they hand it to you. And you'll begin to get delirious and begin to pass out. And then they get you and they got you and you're gone. That's what they do now. Situational awareness. I don't care if you got a gun on you. If they do that, you done. Situational awareness is the key. Knowing everything that's going around you, keeping your head on a swivel. With me, I'm not too worried because people don't want my big rusty butt. I ain't too cute, now, So, they're not up for it. It'd probably take a lot of them chemicals to make me pass out. And Elia put, don't ignore your ruach because it tells you something doesn't feel right with people, Don't ignore it. I have to ascertain if someone is a threat to me or my family and then take appropriate action. So she thought I was looking at other women in lust. Say that. You said, Mark, yeah. I have to ascertain if someone is a threat to me or my family, then take appropriate action. And she thought I was looking at other women in lust. Oh, well, who cares? Oh, well. And if a woman walk around with her butt hanging out, people gonna look at it. She need to go tell her to cover her butt up. But who cares? If you protecting your family, that's what I'm talking about, being a man. If you protecting your family and they getting mad, who cares? So they just have to get over it. Okay, like I'm not gonna be like some of these other men. Okay, well, what you need to do is don't look anymore. Don't protect your family. You need to lick her boots and make sure she understands and that she forgives you because you have sinned against her. No, who cares? Protect your family. Keep looking. We got divorced because of this. Well, you need to call me because, I mean, there's more to it than that. Trust me. You didn't get divorced because you were trying to protect your family. I know there's more to it than that. But you can, my email's there. Hit me up on that email. And I know there's more to it than that. I went through that as a young woman also, but I realized in hindsight that I was exuding a spirit that they were picking up on. When I turned my life over to Yah, it stopped. Yeah. And yeah, you got to protect your family. I mean, by all means, you know. We don't let our kids go over nobody's house, a whole bunch of stuff. Cause that spirit of lust is heavy because of the internet. Like it's dudes is seething with lust, you know. Seething. It's like keep your kids in sight. You know, I keep the gun on me tight, and somebody acts sideways, it's going down. You know. It says your daughters are supposed to stay at home until someone pays a dowry for them. That is the protection. And that's how I'm conducting it up in here. Like that's how now if they decide they want to buck against that, they can. They're going to get what everybody else get. They're going to reap the curse of going against the way Yah ordained. But we got a nice little congregation. There's a lot of men, young girls and stuff, and boys similar age. That's why it's important to fellowship and get in a good fellowship to where you can arrange the marriages. And it's not, our women don't have to do what a lot of women in here are doing. Our women don't remain uncovered their whole life. And a lot of women, they get in their 30s and 40s, and this society then brainwash them into being monsters and undermining themselves, and it's just a mess, you know. It'll be there lust by what you're watching, or yeah, and you shouldn't, man. TV is so disastrous. It's so much lust on TV. I don't know how you could watch it and be in this truth. Positive reinforcement. I understand it. I live in Atlanta and the perversion is disgusting. You could be covered head to toe, but if a dude is a perv, while nothing, another ball, whole nother. Yeah, and Atlanta, if you're a single woman and you're in Atlanta, good luck. But the chances of you even meeting, I mean, it's like me. I up and I had a good job, a house, and financially everything was straight. But I up and moved and took pay cuts and career hit and everything to move to a city where I could meet a woman. Because the ratios where I was at were bad. So I moved to a whole nother city completely by myself. And 6 months later, I met my wife. And I'm just telling you, in Atlanta, the male to female ratio in Atlanta got to be like 7 men, or I'm sorry, 7 women to 1 man. And then when you factor in the fact that damn near majority of men are gay, then it's like 16 women to 1 man. And he might be down low, so because a lot of women. So sometimes you just need to move, you know. A lot of the music coming out of Hollywood, all of it. But the Hebrew Israelite music is picking up, and it's so strong. ATL too, I'm a realtor, so I have to show people houses or do open houses. I got my piece quick. Yeah, that's right. And make sure you keep it, like you get purses to where you can shoot it in the purse. You don't even got to pull it out. Mothers won't even know where it hit them. That is national, international. Shalom, my Atlanta family. So yeah, you know. But even in Atlanta, you get in a good ministry where they're really putting this work in. it ain't hard. It's not hard to meet a man. Anyway, y'all, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I hope what I was teaching. This is part one of this. And a matter of fact, speaking of Atlanta, I'm gonna be up in Atlanta next weekend. I'm gonna be at Rebirth. I'll be up there visiting a bunch of my ox. So I'm gonna be. I'll be up in ATL on, I think it's the weekend of the 28th, 29th, or whatever. So I'm going to go to Rebirth Atlanta, holler at all my ox. I'm going to get edified, watch my ox Amir teach. So that'll be good. Look forward to that. Look forward to seeing any of y'all that are up there. Definitely look forward to seeing y'all. Definitely come on out there to Rebirth and, fellowship and everything. But looks forward to seeing y'all up there. And don't be a stranger. Come on up and holler at me, man. I like meeting y'all. It's good getting out there. But yeah, one of my ops, he's on here too. He's coming back to the States. He lives in Atlanta, so come up there, chop it up, fellowship with him. It's gonna be good. And Sister Koya will be up there, so we all look forward to meeting y'all and look forward to fellowshipping with Amir and all the other Rebirth brothers and sisters up there. It's gonna be good. So, but anyway, yep, that's part one of this. Look, there'll be other parts coming up. This is a series, the beginning of it. Hope it was edifying. If it was, make sure you hit that like button on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, help me out by sharing it. And with that said, I'm Michael Israel. You're watching Spiritual Combat. Shalom.
This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. Ready or not, he still will come. 'Cause he must fulfill his promise. His will be done. And there's no one that can stop it. If I were you, I would seek the Most High for the truth. So many will be called, but they only choose a few. Be careful of all your deeds. You are the light to your enemy. You were given the responsibility, so stay away from my idolatry. Look up in the sky, can't you see the sign? This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. I'll be the first to stand and worship you in spirit and in truth. Every day I will repent and die daily. No matter how hard it gets, I choose to endure. 'Cause this is a spiritual war. If I were you, I would seek the Most High for the truth. So many will be called, but they only choose a few. Be careful of all your deeds. You are the light to your enemy. You were given the responsibility, so stay away from idolatry. Look up in the sky, can't you see the sign? This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, we're living in the last days. This is the last, This is the last, we're living in the last day. This is the last, this is the last.